But it's
Like,
gotten you so far.
I don't know how I would deal as a mom. I'm going to have to.
You're going to have to.
I do.
I was going to say, we're going to get to that. But do you think your mom is unfazed now? Do you think there's anything you actually could do that your mom would be like, actually, what?
I think every time we say that, something comes up and then it's like, what?
Kim Kardashian didn't just climb to fame. She was positioned there step by step. And the man long rumored to have helped open those doors is the same figure now facing a 50-month federal sentence, according to court records, tied to trafficking and racketeering charges. That name, Sean Diddy Combs, is now straight up toxic in Hollywood. What barely gets said out loud is how deep Kim's connection allegedly once ran and how fast that history started getting wiped. When the pressure hit, the shift showed up in the timeline. Sudden digital cleanups, quiet erasures, and a nervous energy clinging to her public image. This wasn't just crisis control, this was damage containment. She wasn't standing still. She was moving fast to outrun a past that could shake the entire Kardashian brand. It kicked off quietly in March 2024, when Kim unfollowed Diddy on Instagram. On the surface, it looked casual, like a simple step back. But that same week, federal agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing evidence tied to an expanding federal investigation that later included trafficking and racketeering allegations. Sources close to the scene said the unfollow wasn't random, it was self-preservation. She wasn't just cutting ties with an old industry contact, she was scrubbing a mistake. For over a decade, the Kardashians were regulars at Diddy's high-profile parties, often snapped next to him, smiling, shining, and playing the Hollywood networking game deep inside the elite inner circle. When those same parties suddenly became part of a criminal investigation, Kim's silence said everything. No statements, no vague posts, no loyalty talk, just a clean break. She unfollowed, then disappeared from her own platforms for nearly 2 weeks, letting the noise fade without ever touching it directly. Things got way more uncomfortable when Ye, her ex-husband, the father of her 4 children, and someone who understands her entire operation from the inside, went off in early 2025. He dropped a heated rant about Hollywood's sacrifices, a phrase that instantly sent social media into meltdown mode. They can control LeBron, Jay-Z, Beyonce, but they can't control me, he said. To most people, it sounded like another Ye explosion. But underneath that rant was something sharper. He was linking celebrity power, hidden money, and careers built on access. And when he mentioned Diddy by name, followers started asking dangerous questions about who else had been moving in those same elite circles, including his ex-wife. The message wasn't subtle. If Diddy symbolized the dark underbelly of fame, then Kim had once been seated at the same table, benefiting from the same access and connections. After that, the chain reaction didn't slow down. It got louder. Ray J, Kim's former boyfriend and the man tied to the tape that first pushed her into the spotlight, suddenly resurfaced in headlines again, dragging old history back into the conversation with fresh attention and renewed tension. But this time, it wasn't nostalgia. It felt like a warning shot. During a live stream in September 2024, Ray J shocked viewers by claiming he was preparing a federal RICO case involving Kim and Kris Jenner, calling the information explosive. He went even further, warning, the feds are coming, and saying it could get worse than Diddy, a line that instantly set the internet on fire. The response came fast. The Kardashian legal team, led by attorney Alex Spiro, shut it down immediately, calling Ray J's statements false and serious enough to trigger a defamation lawsuit. But by then, the damage was already spreading. Clips from the live stream were chopped up, reposted across TikTok, and analyzed frame by millions. People started asking questions. Why would Ray J, someone who once benefited from Kim's rise, risk stepping back into legal chaos unless he truly believed there was something there? And if his claims really had no weight, why did the family move so hard and so fast to silence him instead of letting the noise die on its own?
I mean, I think that extra pressure just makes it a little bit harder. I think people were going to be, I thought like, oh my God, everyone's going to be so upset with me because I'm just like leaving, and I wouldn't want someone to think I was leaving someone because it got too hard. But there was just a lot in there that for my soul, I felt like I had to make that decision. And
Then October hit and an old clip resurfaced. A 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians suddenly felt very different. Khloe, laughing while talking to Kourtney, described a wild party weekend saying half the people were naked while casually naming figures like Diddy, Quincy Brown, Justin Bieber, and French Montana, all mentioned without accusation, just as part of the story. Back then, it played like messy reality TV chaos. But viewed in 2025, that clip landed harder. It didn't feel like a harmless anecdote anymore. It felt like a timestamp, placing the Kardashian sisters inside Diddy's social world at a moment now under serious scrutiny. During the same stretch of years that federal investigators now describe as Diddy's most disturbing period, fans started digging hard. Old photos resurfaced, comment sections flooded, and suddenly images that once looked glamorous felt uncomfortable. Kim in silver sequins standing beside Diddy, Khloe captioning posts with lines like "nothing like a Diddy party." Moments that once screamed elite lifestyle now looked questionable under a new spotlight. Behind the scenes, insiders say the mood in Calabasas flipped fast, from confident to shaky. Kim's public appearances dropped off, interviews were quietly canceled, and people close to her claimed she became deeply paranoid about leaks and loose talk. This wasn't business as usual. It was lockdown mode. Around that same time, Ye reignited their long-running feud. He accused Kim of blocking their daughter, North, from being linked to one of his creative projects that reportedly included Diddy's music. Ye then leaked private text messages, exposing raw tension that never truly disappeared. One message read, "She's hiding behind lawyers," before it was quickly deleted. But screenshots had already spread. This fight wasn't just about parenting or control. It was about optics. Kim couldn't afford any connection, even indirect, to a man the FBI was now publicly treating as a suspected trafficker. And Ye, sensing weakness and pressure, didn't back off. He kept pushing, making sure the spotlight stayed exactly where she didn't want it. What followed was a series of small implosions that made the entire Kardashian brand feel shaky. Kim was dragged online after defending North's viral TikTok videos that showed fake tattoos and piercings. Harmless visuals, but critics said the timing felt off. Some accused her of using family moments as a distraction from much darker headlines swirling at the same time. Then came the legal pressure. The lawsuit against Ray J dropped, followed by sharp press statements accusing him of reckless disregard for the truth. The tone wasn't calm. It was aggressive, urgent, and defensive. The message was clear. This wasn't noise they could ignore anymore. And then came the moment that stopped viewers cold. In the season 7 premiere of The Kardashians, Kim sat in a sterile exam room and broke down on camera. She told her family she'd been diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. They were like, "Just stress," she said. But the question no one asked out loud, and the one echoing across gossip forums, was what that stress actually came from. By then, Diddy's sentencing was only weeks away. 50 months behind bars, a global scandal, and court filings referencing a wide cross-section of the entertainment world. Kim's unfollow had happened months earlier, almost like she saw the wave coming. Insiders claimed her team was terrified she could be subpoenaed, not as a suspect, but as someone who could verify how those celebrity circles really worked. Whether that fear was justified or not, the pressure was real enough to crack her health. Courtney always says, patience.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce,
No, you, man.
but they can't control me.
No,
You see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name. It's
But the storm didn't slow down. Meanwhile, Ye kept pushing, hinting again and again that Hollywood's elite protect their own, and that Kim's empire was built on sacrifices no one wanted to name. For Ye, this was never about the marriage anymore. It was about exposure, and the timing was no accident. Every time new court filings surfaced in Diddy's case, his rants popped back up, stitching Kim's image to a narrative she was desperately trying to shake. By late September, even casual fans were asking the same uneasy question. Did Kim really rise on her own, or was her success shaped by a powerful network now cracking under federal scrutiny? That's when the tone shifted darker. In a teaser for her reality show, Kim sat at a table, visibly shaken, her voice low as she whispered, "Why is this happening?" The camera held on her face just long enough for it to feel deeper than exhaustion, like fear slipping through the cracks. Publicly, the explanation made sense. Stress from divorce, co-parenting, nonstop pressure, and fame, all believable. But what if that wasn't the full picture? What if the real weight had nothing to do with family drama at all? What if it was the dread of what Diddy's trial could expose? The parties, the recordings, the people who were present, and the ones who were never meant to be mentioned? And what if that aneurysm wasn't just bad luck, but the physical cost of staying silent while a world she once moved comfortably inside began to collapse around her? If the first half of this story exposed cracks in Kim's carefully built image, what comes next is about what starts crawling out of them. Because now, this isn't just about a reality star under pressure. It's about a system unraveling in real time. This story isn't just about pressure. It's about an empire built on silence, money, and control. And once people started following the money, things got uncomfortable fast. Take the reported $200,000 a month Kim receives from Ye in child support. On paper, it's a legal divorce agreement meant to support their children. But in the wider context of everything happening, critics online began framing it as something more symbolic. A reminder that silence, stability, and control can all carry a price. That interpretation spread quickly, with commenters questioning motives and power, not legality. And if that sounds extreme, the conversation only got louder when attention shifted to Kim and Ye's oldest child, North, a minor who was born into fame and placed under a spotlight she never asked for. Earlier this year, North shared a drawing inspired by artwork connected to her father's Vulture's One album, an album whose original cover art had already sparked controversy and been restricted on some platforms. The reaction was immediate. Fans debated whether the imagery was appropriate and, more importantly, who approved the post. The real issue wasn't North's creativity. It was the responsibility of the adults involved. Critics asked why a child was allowed to be linked, even indirectly, to an album Ye's own team reportedly described as explicit in tone. That sparked another wave of speculation. Some claimed the moment functioned as a distraction, a viral headline about creativity and parenting choices that pulled attention away from deeper controversies surrounding the adults. Others pushed back, saying the child should never be pulled into adult narratives at all. Still, the pattern people pointed to felt familiar. Deflect, distract, deny. It's a cycle critics say the Kardashian brand has used before, redirecting attention when scrutiny gets too close. And that's why old stories keep resurfacing, including Khloe Kardashian's past comments about attending Diddy's parties, moments that once played as harmless reality TV chaos, but now get re-examined through a much sharper lens as the bigger picture continues to shift. In that 2014 clip, Khloe laughed and said, "Half the guests were naked at the time. It was framed as humor. Just another outrageous Hollywood party story meant to get laughs." Back then, it played like messy celebrity chaos. But hearing it now lands very differently, especially when she casually mentioned that Justin Bieber was there. At the time, Bieber was 20, legally an adult, but still very young in an industry full of powerful figures twice his age. According to Khloe's own words, it was an environment with little structure and no clear boundaries. That line once got a laugh track. Now it makes the room go quiet. Bieber has never spoken publicly about that night. Neither has Kim. Neither has Khloe. The only person who openly talked about those gatherings for years was Diddy himself, and now he's behind bars. That silence is what's making people look back harder, and Justin Bieber's name in this story isn't random. It fits a larger pattern. He didn't just end up there in 2014. He was part of a wider orbit of young stars moving through Diddy's social world at its peak of influence. At that time, Bieber was still branded as the former teen prodigy navigating fame after his first major tabloid storms. Behind the scenes, his professional circle was shifting. He began working with producers connected to Diddy's extended label network and showing up at the same exclusive industry after-parties. Most notably, his path crossed Kim Kardashian's social web more than once. Cameras rarely caught them together directly, but photos from that era show shared entourages, overlapping publicists, and identical event backdrops. When people talk about the so-called Diddy circle, they often underestimate how wide it really was. It wasn't just a few insiders, it was a massive network of influence. And during that moment in time, Justin Bieber was clearly moving inside it, whether anyone wanted to admit it or not. By 2025, that detail suddenly mattered again. As Diddy's legal case widened, tabloids dragged old footage back into the spotlight, including Khloe's party confession, and Justin Bieber's name started circling headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Courtney always says North is my lesson on this planet.
What does that mean? She's your lesson.
It means that I'm supposed to learn even more patience.
This time, though, his silence felt calculated. No statement, no denial, no acknowledgement at all. Sources close to Bieber said he was focused on his faith and staying private. But to critics online, that silence looked less like peace and more like protection. Because admitting to one party opens the door to questions about how many more existed and who else was present but can no longer afford to be mentioned. That context matters when you remember Bieber's own turning point. His public rebrand as a spiritual-focused artist didn't happen randomly. It came just months after he quietly stepped away from several older industry mentors, including figures connected to Diddy's extended network. The timing wasn't loud, but it was precise. And here's where the timeline gets uncomfortable. Around that same period, Kim Kardashian was still attending those elite gatherings, still posing for photos, still moving through the same social circles without pulling back. While Bieber was shrinking his footprint, Kim's remained visible. By 2025, fans weren't just revisiting old clips, they were lining up timelines: who stayed, who left, and who saw the storm coming early enough to get out without ever explaining why. By then, Bieber was quietly erasing himself from the timeline. It almost felt like one person escaped while another stayed put. That's what makes his silence today feel so unsettling. He knows what those rooms look like, he just refuses to describe them. Then the timeline got even stranger. In March 2025, Kim unfollowed Diddy, and that same month, Bieber's name popped back up in tabloids tied to the resurfaced 2014 party footage. That overlap is hard to ignore. Coincidence or coordination? When two of the most media-savvy figures on the planet move at the same time, people start asking why. Some entertainment lawyers have speculated that quiet warnings may have gone out, alerts that federal investigators were reviewing new material. If that's true, Kim's unfollow wasn't social media drama. It was legal triage. And this is where the story breaks past one family. If Diddy's conviction is only the first domino, how many more names could follow? Artists, executives, and power players who once shared stages, covers, and deals may now be linked by the same decade-old trail of private events. Kim Kardashian wasn't just attending parties. She moved inside a system that protected them. And if Bieber, once the most photographed young star on the planet, stays silent while his name re-enters the conversation, it suggests the web is far bigger and far more coordinated than anyone ever wanted to admit. We can't ignore what that silence suggests, because silence is its own kind of confession. When a family built on non-stop visibility suddenly goes quiet, people start asking what's being protected. Former insiders from the Kardashian orbit have whispered for years that certain A-list connections were off-limits, especially anything tied to Diddy's events. Those same insiders claimed that after federal raids hit Diddy's homes, Kris Jenner ordered a quiet internal sweep. Old photos, archived videos, forgotten posts, all reviewed, all flagged. Within days, hundreds of clips vanished from social media. Coincidence or full-blown damage control? Still, Kim tried to keep things calm on her show. She blamed her brain aneurysm on stress, divorce, co-parenting. Moving forward, it sounded reasonable on camera, but critics weren't convinced. Divorces are common, aneurysms aren't. Fear does that. The kind of fear that creeps in when your entire legacy depends on keeping the past buried. Doctors can talk pressure and exhaustion, but people close to Kim say what truly broke her wasn't the split from yeah. It was the realization that her past might finally surface. Because once Diddy's name exploded with trafficking charges, she knew every photo, every story, every old clip could come back in ways no publicist could ever control. We've seen how Kim moves when the pressure hits. She sues, she unfollows, she goes silent. The same playbook every time. But here's the twist. Every silence just makes the noise louder. Ray J's lawsuit, Ye's explosive rants, those viral keeping up clips, they all keep circling back to the same shadow. The one name she can't erase from her timeline. Diddy, the same man she now claims she barely knew, even while photo after photo tells a very different story. The truth might never show up in court filings. It's hiding in the patterns, the sudden exits, the forced smiles, the panic beneath the polish. And yeah, he's unraveling in his own lane. Lawsuits piling up, wealth shrinking, misconduct accusations swirling. But no matter what's hitting him, he keeps returning to one obsession, that there's a system designed to control artists and that Kim was part of it. People call him unstable, but his timing is sharp. Every time Kim pivots toward positivity, Ye drags her name right back into the same conversation. Diddy's empire, Hollywood sacrifices, the cost of silence. When he says, they can control Jay-Z and Beyonce, but not me, it sounds like ego. But what if it's something else? What if he's pointing at the very network that built and protected at stars like Kim in exchange for compliance? This tension isn't personal anymore, it's structural. This isn't random, it's systemic. A billionaire reality mogul and a fallen rap icon, both tied to the same crumbling foundation, with one family stuck right in the middle. And then there's their 12-year-old daughter sharing artwork that to the internet looks less like innocence and more like a signal. Maybe North doesn't understand the meaning people are attaching to it. Maybe Kim does, or maybe the moment itself says more than any explanation ever could. By now, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Ye's rants, Ray J's warnings, Diddy's trial, Khloe's old confession, Bieber's silence, Kim's health scare. These aren't isolated headlines. They're coordinates on the same map. And that map doesn't lead somewhere comfortable. It points somewhere darker than most people want to admit. Because if Kim Kardashian's rise was built on silence, access, and carefully managed narratives, what happens when the world stops listening to her and starts listening to everyone else. Now it's your turn. Do you think we're witnessing the fall of an empire or the exposure of something far bigger hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story made you think, make sure to like, subscribe, share this video, and keep the conversation going. Stay alert, stay curious, because Hollywood's brightest lights always cast the darkest shadows.